Hello, hello, friends. How's it going? I'm gonna get this pulled up, make sure I'm going live in all the right places. You know the routine. Gotta make sure I'm not live, who knows where. If you're hopping on, say hi. If you can let me know that I'm in the group and not on my regular page, that would be super helpful. I'm not letting technology get the best of me today. Alright, so I need to find my group. Groups. Am I live in the group? I'm going to pull up comments too. Let's see. Slow connection. Okay. Let me see. It's so beautiful out. Okay. I'm live in the group in the right spot. Yes. All right, y'all. If you're hopping on, say hi. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay so that it keeps at the top for others. Let me get my thing. Okay. Click to expand. Let's do that. So that it keeps at the top for others. Hold on. Okay. I gotta find the mute button. Click to expand. Do that. There we go. There's nothing worse than hearing your own voice. Alright, y'all. If you're hopping on, say hi so I know who I'm with. It's so beautiful out, although for a minute there, it looks like it was going to rain here, but it has not yet done that. Okay. I'm going to keep this over here. All right, tonight, we're going to do a spring arch. First thing we're going to do is start with the glaze, because you all know that it takes a minute to dry, so we're going to start with that first, which is, let me get a paper towel. Which is going to be the base of the arch and the roof of the birdhouse. And this pole of the birdhouse is going to be stained too. I'm just going to... So on the base, normally I just use a sponge, but when I have a big space like this, I think it's easier with paper towel. And it helps from leaving lines on it. So I'm going to do this base here, glaze. And these two stack on top of each other, so you only need to glaze one of them. Can y'all hear me? I just want to make sure. Yeah, you can, because I just heard myself. Hi, Amanda. How are you? All right. It's beautiful outside. I'm digging the nicer weather, the warm weather. Winter is rough. I'm here for the spring and summer vibes. And the older I get, the more I'm cold. And so the weather, when it's warm out, is so much nicer. So much more pleasant. Okay, Amanda, did you already do yours? Or are you in real time with me? Did you already paint ahead of time? I know you seem to be ahead of me almost always. Yesterday we had the back-to-back volleyball games, so I didn't have a chance to do this yesterday. And of course, it seems like every other week they're switching the schedule on us, so it's kind of like we're at their mercy. But it's not that big of a deal. All right, so we only need to do one of these because we're going to glue the other on top. It's just for extra stability in the arch pieces so that they aren't flopping around. I haven't painted yet. Okay. Beating you to it this month. Alright, so, I got this, the bottom of the birdhouse. And the frame piece to that is glazed too. If you want to paint yours like mine, you can obviously paint yours however you want, but on this part I'm going to do the sponge because it's littler. Okay. husband's gone helping a buddy with concrete. I got one kid going on a walk and one kid doing schoolwork. It's all peace and quiet here. Super duper peaceful. No dogs barking. Give it time now. I gave up on my iPad. I just moved to the laptop. And she hasn't given me any trouble like that iPad. So this may have to be my new way. Okay. This is staying. This is staying. Let me make sure that looking at my picture, I previously did this. So I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay. Now, on this part, let me move this stain stuff aside. I want to do this part blue, but the blue I have is a little darker than I want. The shade I like, but it's too dark, so I'm going to add white to it. This is called Moody Blue, and it looks a little brighter on the screen than it actually is. It's kind of like a little bit of a muted blue. But it's a little darker than I want. I want to lighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to add a little white to it and try to make my own shade. I usually do about 50-50, like 50 or half blue and half white. And we'll see what we get. Yeah, this is what I'm wanting. Okay. I think I'm going to do the whole thing the lighter blue, and then I'm going to go back with like a brush and do this darker, the original blue on the lines, just to give it a little texture. Okay, let's see what we got with this blue. Oh yeah. I'll show you once I get one line done, but it's a pretty blue. I use it a lot, really, but I don't know if you can tell that. On the screen, it's a little bit different than what it actually is. It's a little bit, I'm going to add just a tad bit more white. Mixing it with the back of my paintbrush. Because with spring, you don't want too dark. You want light and bright colors. So I don't want to do it too, so a little less moody. Yes. Okay, let me try this. Yeah, because when it dries a tad bit darker than what it looks like on your, while it's wet. Okay, I think that should be good. And if you don't want to get paint in the lines, your best bet is to use a sponge. I know it takes a little longer, and it's a little bit more patience, and you got to do a little bit more coats because you want the paint to be even, but I think it's worth the patience. Unless you have like a little scrapey tool that you could scrape the paint out of the cracks, but sometimes it just takes a little patience. And it is a birdhouse, so it's kind of meant to be a little whimsical. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I forgot to tell you all, I went ahead and I sprayed my arch pieces white so they could dry, because you know I'm all about spray paint. So the arch and the front pieces are white, and then the Hello Spring are all white. And I did those ahead of time. Sprayed them, let them dry. But everything else will be painting. This is so cute in this arch when it's finished. I had someone in my family that wanted it. So I have already painted this once. So I know how this one actually turns out. For once, half the time I just go with it. Okay. I'm not going to make it super solid because I kind of want it to be a little bit rustic. Because, I mean, it is a birdhouse. But I don't want it to be super uneven. So I'm going to touch up a few spots. Okay. And then I'm probably going to let it sit to the side and let it dry, and then I'm going to go back and do the darker lines. Okay. Actually, I'm going to drag my sponge a little bit and give it a little bit of texture. The wood itself has got a lot of texture, so sometimes it does its own thing. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. Watering can. Let me put my picture. I use my Cricut weeding tool. Yes, I've used that too. These ones I have now are from, oh, what's that store my husband goes to? Harbor Freight. They have them, but I have used those too, Amanda. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to do the darker blue on the little accents of the watering can, but lighter blue on the background of it. So, let's do this first. And don't go up into your flowers because we got to paint those. So just get real close. Oh, there's my dogs. I knew I couldn't go through a whole live without hearing them bark. Can you guys hear that or no? There's two of them. I know if you're local and you've picked up your order, you've heard them. They are always barking at something. Okay. I knew it. They're inside my house and I can still hear them, but the windows are open. It's too nice not to have the windows open. I will say yesterday though, I had the windows open and I got a little toasty when it was time to lay down at night, but today it's like a little cooler and there's a nice breeze. And you know, I'm waiting to turn that AC on till the very last minute. I think I'm gonna try and go without running anything for as long as I can. Although I think it's supposed to be high 80s at some point this week. Maybe low 80s. I might have to draw the line there. I just can't sleep, and I can't sleep when it's hot. Okay. I'm going to go back to the dark blue. Let me get just the regular blue. And do these little pieces. So there should be a straight piece. A dip down piece, and then this thing for the end of the can. So those are, I'm all going to do dark blue, or the regular moody blue. Here's that. I might do a little shading on this once it dries, but I'm going to see how it looks. Okay, going back to my birdhouse. Now on this one, I'm going to take a brush that's like angled, but somewhat thin, but angled. And I'm going to put me some dark lines on the birdhouse with the moody blue. I don't know how it's going to look, but I feel like I want to. Sometimes I'll take my pinky and I'll hold it like this to keep it steady if I'm trying to make a straight line. It just helps me to be able to steady my brush. Because you sometimes get a little pressured when you're trying to make a straight line. You start going all wonky. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. It is a birdhouse. It's meant to look a little rustic. But it's just a little tip from you to me. It makes it a little easier sometimes. Sometimes you can't put your finger down though because you'll smear paint. But if I'm doing lines on the end, I'll definitely use my pinky to stabilize. And you can also always go back with the lighter color and touch up. I have a pretty steady hand. I actually got more of a steady hand when I started painting than I do regularly. Okay, I'm taking my sponge with the lighter blue, and I have one little spot. I'm just going to touch it up with the lighter blue, just to make that line straight. Okay, there you go. There's that. I'm going to set that aside to dry. Make sure that my watering can doesn't need. Thinking about putting some texture on this real quick. I know this is like really random. Let me see. I didn't do this on the one for my family, but I kind of want to do it now. Okay, so same sponge with the light blue. Since we're done with the light blue everywhere, I'm going to dip it in white. And I'm going to make some like, just a little bit of white. That way it has the blue and the white on there. And I'm just going to turn it different directions. Like, and I'm just going to give it a little texture. And you can go back over it with the light blue if you don't like it. I mean, we're just trying it out. It's just paint. You can always go over it if you don't like it. Sometimes I do like stuff, sometimes I don't, but you ain't never going to know if you don't try. Okay, so I'm not a super fan. I'm going to tone it down a little bit. So I'm going to go back into the light blue and just go over the white and try to tone it down a little bit. Because I got some spots that are super bright white. And I just want a little bit of texture. So I'm going to go back over it with the blue. Okay. Okay, it's real light. Do you guys see that? See how it just added just a little bit? It's literally dipping my blue sponge in white, dabbing it off, dab on there, and then adding blue again to it to mute it down a little bit. You don't have to do that. I just thought it would be cute. All right. What's next? I guess we'll go ahead and do these flowers that are in the watering can. Let's see what colors we're gonna do on this. Okay, I have my go-to pinks. This is Cactus Flower from Deco Art and Cotton Candy from Deco Art. And these are my go-to for pretty much everything. Okay, so I'm gonna do one. Let me fold over my foil. I've already used bunch of it. I'm going to do one flower, the dark, and then the medium, and then a light, like almost white. So just 3 different shades of pink, essentially. Okay, first one is the darkest. And I'm going to do that, the one that's separate, that lays on top, the center flower. We're going to make that the darkest pink. Cactus flower. This pink is so pretty. I use this pink for summer and spring. Okay. Now we're going to take Cotton Candy, which is the middle pink. And we are going to do the right flower. And this one butts up next to the other one, so you have to take your time. Make sure you don't get it on there. I mean, the paint will probably go over it, but you know what I mean. Whenever I'm trying to get something small, since I pretty much paint everything with a sponge, unless it's like really detailed or a big background, if you pinch your sponge, it gives you a rounded edge and it allows you to like get up in the nitty-gritty a little better. Okay, That's the light pink. We're going to take the same sponge that has the medium pink and we're going to dip it in white. So it'll just be like a really soft pink. It almost looks white, but it's got like a slight tint, which you're probably not going to be able to see on the video, but I'm sure you will in the pictures. I think I might have to go just a smidge more white. Okay. You're not going to be able to tell the difference. Well, you can. Alright. So 3 pinks. Now we're going to do the centers. I'm going to do marigold for my center. Another sponge. And just so you know, if you are new and you haven't heard me say that, you can cut your sponges and make them last longer. I reuse mine till they're like that big. So just cut the ends off and reuse them. I do have some people in my paint parties that use the smaller end, but I rarely do that. I always use the bigger end, but I'm also used to maneuvering my sponge. Okay, third one. Uh-oh, do you want to take this? No. Okay. All right. Last one. And then we're going to glue pieces to this can. So we're going to do the straight piece first because I don't know where to put that flower until I get this piece on. So this piece goes on the top. This piece, I actually don't know if this goes on the very, very bottom. No, it's like midway. Okay. Midway on the bottom, and then I'm gonna put little dots on this part once it dries, the little end of the where the water comes out. Okay, so when you're putting this middle, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna glue these down first, because if you glue your flower over the center of this, then you aren't gonna be able to put your center of the 2 lighter flowers in. So put your marigolds in the center of these flowers before you glue the 3rd flower on. That way you know you have enough room for it. And then my dogs. Then you glue the 3rd flower on. That way you give yourself enough room for all of it. Okay. Alright, I am going to take a tiny bit of white on a sponge. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to, and when I say a tiny bit of white, dab off, like really light. I'm just going to put a little bit of white. Just drag it across. That's how you get a little white shading. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Just drag it. See how there's a little bit of white? You probably can't even see it on here. See the white on the top of the dark blue? Just a little bit on the sponge. I feel like it gives it dimension. I'm going to take my paint marker. I'm going to put a couple little dots. Just for the little holes where the water comes out. See that? Okay. Watering can done. I'm going to go ahead and glue my arch on my birdhouse just so it looks like a birdhouse. My glaze isn't really dry, but it can dry. Oh, I hear my daughter's back from her walk. Okay, there goes that. We're gonna use the pinks again on the butterfly and the flower piece. Okay, my birdhouse is coming alive. Make sure I got it even. Yep. Okay, so on this, the little greenery piece and the butterfly, and then your mini arch with the flowers. So we're going to go ahead and do the two greenery pieces. My favorite is aloe for spring. Aloe is my favorite green, so I'm going to use that. It's like a muted green. So I'm going to get another sponge for that. And we're going to do this piece. Just dabbing the green on. This goes on the top of the birdhouse. Just a little decorative piece. Okay. And then we're going to do just the stems of this piece. Amanda, is it raining at your, where you're at? I know you're not that far from me. Oh, what a bummer. Sorry, bud. Mike, I have one dog that likes other dogs, and I have one dog that does not like other dogs. We just recently took him to the groomer, which, I mean, they've been to the groomer a few times, same groomer, and she has other dogs there and that she dog sits and grooms, and we always have to make sure that he goes when no one else is there. Which is so weird because he's always with other dogs. He lives with them, but if it's not his brother, he doesn't like anyone. He's mean. I think he's just intimidated by him, and that's his way of dealing with it, but... Okay, on the butterfly, I think I'm going to do the dark pink, and then I'm going to go back and shade it with the cotton candy, the lighter pink. So one solid swoop on the butterfly in the cactus flower. And then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back with cotton candy. Okay, so I think I need, oh, here it is. I'm going to do the background of this cotton candy, which is the lighter pink. And I'm just going to see what it looks like by just swiping this across. Not a solid pink. I don't know if it's going to look good or not, but we can always make it more solid. Okay. Yeah, a little drinksy. No, not yet, but the wind is, yes, it's windy here too. Tucker loves all dogs. That's how I have one dog. He is super friendly. I just don't know why my other dog can't be that way. He's also like he's a very anxious dog, so I think it might have something to do with his anxiety. But not super sure. Okay. So I swiped it all the way across. I think I'm going to have to let it dry and put another coat. So I'm going to set that aside and work on the flowers. Okay, the background of these we're going to do in the dark pink. And again, that's cactus flower. And we're going to do the middle pieces cotton candy, and then we're going to do some shading with the white sponge. Oh, flipped over on me. Cotton candy doesn't have the best coverage. It's definitely a two-coater. So you have to let that sit. Okay, we're going back to our butterfly. I'm going to dab off on the white, or on the cotton candy sponge. There's like barely anything on it. I'm just going to hit the ends, the edges of the butterfly with the sponge. Real light. It's pretty. If you wanted to put designs on there, you could. Probably be easiest with a paint marker, but okay, this gets glued on the center of this little granary piece. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Goes like this. And again, if you want to put yours like somewhere else or on the side of your birdhouse or whatever, that would be cute too. I kind of wish I would have put mine on my birdhouse, like in the little corner here. That would be cute. All right, going back to the background of this and putting some more cotton candy on it. Okay, letting that dry. Get my bottle. And then I'm gonna do a little bit more, another coat on these centers of these flowers. And then we're gonna dab off either onto a paper towel or your foil or your paper plate. You want barely any on here. And then we're gonna touch the sides of these flowers. Not too much though, because the background is the same color. So just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to glue these on and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay. Cute. I'll probably do some little details on it with a paint marker when I'm done on a white paint marker. But for right now, okay, we're going to put the border of the arch on. You want to make sure the piece at the bottom is sticking out because it's the piece that has to go down into your arch stand. Okay, make sure it's all lined up. And my little trick is if your paint goes over the edge, you can go back with black paint marker and clean up the edge to where it doesn't make it look as sloppy if you go over. I always just do this little, and it just cleans it right up. You could do it with black paint on a sponge too. Except for I accidentally with the front of the arch. Don't do that. Okay. Got a little bit of glue. It's allergy season. With warm weather comes the sneezes. Alright. One little spot left I don't like. There we go. Aww. That's nice, Amanda. I wish that. Aww, that's cute. Alright. So, let me see if I put this all the way down. Okay. It's supposed to go like this. Okay. So there's a little notch at the bottom, and it's supposed to sit flat to where the flower is tipped over. I'll show you in just a second. You hold it down for a sec. A couple little details on here too, because you know I like to be extra. Okay, here's this piece. Put a little couple squigglies and dots. Here's that piece. So that's done. Now we need to work on putting our birdhouse together. Putting that at the top. And then the hello spring goes on the birdhouse. And then we'll work on our arch next. And then we are all done. Okay, spring, hello spring, there we go. Okay, I would recommend putting the word spring on first, just because the wording is really tight and you want to make sure it all fits. So, spring first, then hello. Hold that down for a minute. I'll put a couple little dots on my butterfly. Then hello. That way it fits all underneath the hole to the birdhouse. Make sure it's straight. Okay, and I think all we have left is the arch. Okay, here's this cutie. Okay, setting this all aside. Working on my arch. So I'm gonna distress mine because I don't know, I just like to. So we're gonna do this part first. So you're gonna take your 2 pieces that lay on top. I got a little fingerprint on it. Okay, so we're gonna take this piece and glue it down first. Actually, yeah, we're gonna glue it and then distress it. And make sure you got this lined up somewhat good because you want it to fit down in the little base. So you want to make sure all is well. Okay. I kind of want to see if somebody does it other than white, but I just chose white because that way it was pretty neutral for, you know, all the seasons or all the themes since it's interchangeable. But if you know you're only going to use it for the spring, then it'd be a good time to get creative. Okay. Hold that down. And then we're going to distress it. So when I distress, I love these little foam brushes. They work the best for me for distressing. To get my little stain. And I just dip just a little bit. Like you don't want a lot. I usually get a paper towel too and just, you don't want a lot. Less is more. And then you just slowly start pulling it towards you. The only thing I recommend is just making sure that you do your distressing lines all in the same direction so that they're cohesive. You don't want to be like, you know what I mean, like all over the place. A little bit more, dab off. And I'm just going to keep pulling it all in the same direction. You can do as little or as much as you want, or you don't have to distress it at all. You do you. And I don't really like how dark that is. Actually, I think I'm only going to distress the top and leave the back white. And this, if you don't, you can always wipe the glaze off. It's not really permanent till it dries. Little wet paper towel or baby wipe will make it come right off. Okay. And again, I'm keeping my backing piece solid white. I'm just doing the top too heavily. Okay. Now this is totally preference. If you don't like it, you don't have to. I just like it. It makes it give a little character in my opinion. Okay, on the base, we want to do these first. We're going to just glue them right on top of each other. Make sure your things are lined up the best that you can because you want the pieces to sit down in it pretty good. So get them all lined up. Hold that down for a minute. Piece back. Okay. then we take this piece. Doesn't take very much. This glue is strong. And then we're just you're gonna eyeball it. You're gonna try to make it as center the best that you can. So just look at all 4 sides and try to make it as even as you can. Hold it down. And then we're gonna start putting our pieces in our stand. Okay. Go back over here. Hi, Becky. I'll be getting with you soon for a bit. Oh, I don't know the theme or baby name yet. Just know it's coming. That's exciting. I love doing baby stuff. All right. So the back goes in the longest one. And I don't glue these. I just let them slide in there. That way, when you don't want to use it, you can pull it apart and store it flat. But if you want to glue it in there, you're more than welcome. Then bird feeder. And I can't remember which side I put okay, the arch goes to the left. It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to do it like my picture. There's that. And there's that. Let me see if I got it the right way. Hopefully y'all can see that. Maybe a little closer. But how cute! And it is interchangeable. There's other seasons, all kinds of different things you can do with it. But if you want to just use it for spring, you can do that too. Alright, y'all. If you end up rewatching it and you have questions, or you get to doing yours and you have a question, you can always message me. I always like to remind people that if you're doing this after 30 days and it's not in the group, you can find them on YouTube, because Facebook deletes them after 30 days. And that's it. That wasn't so bad. If you have any questions, let me know, y'all. Have a good week.